Can't see it past our current financial strife. Can't see past this current recession. Can't see past whatever our current health issues are. Whatever bad relationships we're in. How many of us are stuck? God is knocking at your door as well. Yes, he is. He is knocking at your door as well. But you need to be as courageous as Rahab was. Answer the door. Answer the door. Open his word. See yourself in these pages. Read about you in these verses. See yourself in the future. Now, the second issue, and I believe, let me just say this up front. This is Jackie 101. It is not in your text. This is just Jacquelyn Pinchback 101. But I believe that the spies would have saved Rahab and her family, whether she had accepted God or not. Those are two separate issues. That was a straight barter. You save me, I save you. That was a straight barter deal. That had nothing to do with her accepting God on the part of the Israelites. Not on their part. Not on their part. And I don't believe that Rahab took that giant leap of faith just because she wanted to save the spies to save her life. She took that giant leap because she wanted God to give her a new life. She was tired of the life that she had been living. She wanted a new life. She saw the opportunity and she grabbed a hold of it with both hands at the risk of her own life. Not many of us would be willing to do that.
That's right.
Not many of us. So back to our story. The two spies agree to her deal, but they tell her if she doesn't keep her promise to them, they won't be bound to keep their end of the deal and save her and her family. So having reached that agreement, she takes them to the window. Remember the window on the outside wall? Your mental bookmark. She goes to that window. And she allows the men to lower themselves to the ground through a rope out of that window. Now, how many of you have a rope in your room? I don't think so. So I'm thinking Rahab had used that escape method before. Now the men instruct her to do two things. First of all, they tell her to bring her family into her home and to keep them there. Secondly, they tell her to hang a red cord from her window so that when they come back, they will be able to find her house. The last thing you want is for them to come back and say, no, I think it's that house, no, it was that, no, it was this house. You want them to know where you are when they come to save you. But here, note here, even the Israelite spies can see Rahab in the future. Why would they bother? Why would they bother to tell her to hang the rope from her window, bring your family into your house, if they did not see a future for Rahab that was different than the one she was living? The Israelite spies had future sight. But let's not gloss over this red cord. Let's go back to this red cord. The use of blood or the representation of blood is a familiar theme in the scripture. This is not the first time that blood was used to mark the homes of those whose lives would be spared. Exodus 12 talks about the Passover and the saving power of God's blood. Hebrews 9 talks about the purging power of God's blood. How blessed are you and I right now? Right now, how blessed are we? We don't have to go out in the fields and find some hyssop and gather it up and make a prune and go over here and get a goat and kill him and dress him and drain his blood and get all that together and paint our home. We don't have to do that. Jesus died for us. He went to the cross and died for me and you. He bled and died. His blood saves us. His blood keeps us safe. His blood is our protection. How blessed are we? Thank you, Lord. How blessed are we? He didn't have to go to the cross. He didn't have to go to the cross. If there was no way to save us, if we had no future, if we could not be forgiven, he would not have had to die on that cross. How blessed are we that Jesus died for us? See yourself in the future. Don't waste his life, that perfect sacrifice, and you sit on your rusty dusty and do nothing with your life. He died for you. See yourself in the future. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
That's all right.
So the spies go back to Jericho. And they report to the king. The spies go back to Joshua. And they report that the people of Jericho are absolutely terrified. That they are running around like scared rabbits. We can walk up into Jericho and take it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Just walk in there and take it. Joshua chapters 3, 4, and 5 go on to tell the story of Joshua and the Israelites' preparation and eventual return to the city of Jericho. And it really is a great story. It really is a great story. And you should read it for yourselves. But my focus today is on Rahab the harlot. So we're going to jump ahead to chapter 6. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to give away the ending to this story. When Joshua and the Israelites returned to Jericho, they followed God's instructions to the letter. They follow God's instructions to the letter. And because they do, they are successful in taking the city of Jericho. So the two spies, they walk into the city and they get Rahab and her family and they bring them out. Rahab and her family walk out of the chaos, the rubble, the mess, the pile and heaps of rocks laying all around that used to be their past, into the future that God had promised them, because Rahab had future sight. They were only able to survive the battle at Jericho because she was able to see through the eyes of her faith a different life than the life that she was currently living. The story of Rahab the harlot is a true example of the victory of faith over sin. Rahab's faith is what gave her future sight. Rahab's faith, even though it was spanking brand new, I mean it was really new, it was up to the challenges that she faced. Her faith was first and foremost a saving faith. Rahab's faith was a saving faith. Her acceptance and acknowledgement of God as Lord of all saved her from a life of continuing sin, saved her from the death of her flesh, saved her family from complete annihilation. Now you know, we're all part of a family. And everybody know there's one person in that family that you all kind of try to keep a little bit of space between you and that family. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got one. The crazy uncle, you know, the drunk aunt, everybody has got one. Well, in this family, it was Rahab. But I also have to think, because of her trait, Rahab had a little cheat. So they probably didn't mind coming to Rahab when they were in need of something. But at any other time, they did their best to separate themselves as far as they could from Rahab. But Rahab didn't care about that. She loved her family anyway. And when she saw an opportunity to save her family, she grabbed it. Is there anybody in here who can relate to Rahab wanting to have her family saved? Anybody in here believe in God to save their family? Are you as bold as Rahab was? Are you willing to take the chances that Rahab took? Is your desire as strong as Rahab to save your family?